Well, Callum, thank you so much for joining me. How have you been?
Yeah, I've been good. Yeah, I just got in from a sparring session, so I'm a small bit tired, but I'm all right.
Cool. As far as was that at the wild card?
Yeah, at the wild card. Yeah.
As far as kind of the opportunities with sparring, since you just got back from the gym, who are some of the names that you've been in with? Have there been particular fighters that you've been working with, or what's that look like?
Just today with a guy. His name is Carlos Ocampo. He fought
Hmm.
Earl Spence. He's 34-1. I done 6 rounds with him today. I done 6 rounds with him on Friday too, but I actually need to spar a southpaw for this next fight. So I've been doing some rounds with like Blair Cobbs, Blair the
Hmm.
Flair, Elvis Rodriguez, another southpaw. So yeah, I'm getting some good sparring for this next fight. I'm still like 6 weeks out from the fight, and I'm feeling ready. So can't wait.
When you're going in with some of these fighters, how many rounds are you going in, or is it staggered based on how far out you are from the actual fight?
Yeah, well, I always do between like 6 and 8 rounds constantly.
Mhm.
So I'm always ready to fight.
Is that one of like the huge benefits of being in such a world renowned stable as wild card with Freddie Roach? Is that one of the added benefits is that you get some amazing sparring?
Yeah, definitely. Sure. Every day you just don't know who's going to walk in the door for sparring. So it's unbelievable.
Well, I'm really interested in your journey from Ireland to the US, how you got to wild card. I read that you started boxing at the age of 6. How did you get involved in boxing, and what prompted you to start boxing?
Yeah, when I was 6, it was my dad actually put me into boxing, and I just stuck with it ever since. So yeah, that's how I got into boxing.
When was the first time that people kind of noticed that you really had some special talent as a boxer?
Probably early on. Anyway, I had my first amateur fight when I was 11 years old. So I've been fighting all the way up since I was 11. I'm 21 now. I've had 120 amateur fights, so I have a lot of experience.
Now is I know that in the US, obviously boxing, I mean, there's so many different sports to contend with. And in Ireland, is boxing, would you say, one of the most popular sports, or is it still kind of something that like, whoa, you're boxing? That's not something that everyone decides to do every day.
Well, I suppose in Ireland, boxing will be a very popular sport because the Irish love to fight. So everybody kind of fights, everybody boxes, but it's still something like it's a lot of discipline and I suppose dedication. Like at this age, there's a lot of people like fall out of sports and stuff, but yeah, a lot of dedication to stay with it.
I know that you had a very successful amateur career. I think it was something like 6 national titles. There was a EU title that you had in there. How do you kind of get the attention? Well, I guess let's put it this way: whose attention in the US did you get to start with, and how did the kind of transfer from like, hey, let's go to from Ireland to the US? How did that all come about?
So my dad was living here, and when COVID hit in Ireland, everything closed. All the boxing gyms closed. I had nowhere. I was training by myself in my back garden. Just I had a bag, and I was just hitting that. And I decided then to make the move here because I was going to try and qualify for the Olympics. So I was going to come here to train and go back and fight then in the qualifiers. But so I went to Mexico for 15 days because Ireland was actually banned from travel to the US. So I had to quarantine in Mexico for 15 days. I went down there, done some training, some sparring in Mexico, and then came up here and just went. I showed up at the wild card, and just Freddie asked me to spar on the first day I was there, and I done some rounds with some of the pros that were there, and Freddie just wanted to keep me, so that's what happened.
Was it Freddie that kind of convinced you to turn professional? Was it your father? Was it a mixture of voices, or how did that come about?
See, I was just training there with all the other pros, and I don't know. I suppose I just it was kind of my own decision. I just liked the idea of turning pro, and I just liked living in Los Angeles when in the wildcard. I was just training in the wildcard. Everything was just unbelievable. So I decided, yeah, stay and turn pro.
What would you say is the biggest difference from Cork, Ireland to LA? What compare the 2 for me. What's the
Yeah.
differences?
The big difference anyway is the weather. Cannot beat the weather here in LA. It's unbelievable. Sometimes though it gets a bit hot for me, but yeah, the weather is a massive difference, and I suppose just the lifestyle. Just out here is a way better life. Just wake up in the morning, it's sunny, like it gives you motivation to go and train and stuff. So Yeah, it's just better weather, better life, everything.
I got an intruder here. All right,
Yeah.
you want to see me eat the bread? All right, rah, rah, rah. All right, now you got to go. Watch that pet. That's from working from home. So kind of, getting adjusted to living in the US, what were some of the biggest changes for you personally, or did you feel like it just clicked right away?
Yeah, I kind of just clicked right away. All I done for all I do is I just wake up in the morning, go to the gym, spar, train, everything, come home, train again. So there wasn't that much adjustment. It was fine. Like obviously, took me a while to get used to like the time differences and stuff like that when I first came. But now I'm just in the routine of just going training and coming home, and it's fine.
Connecting with Freddie Roach, was it really, you were kind of talking about how you kind of got connected with him. Um, was it him that suggested, "Hey, come down here, hang with me, let's get this thing going?" And were there other people that you considered other than Freddie, or was he always kind of like that, just the natural approach based on the way life worked out?
Yeah, no, see what happened. And when I did show up on that first day, and Freddie just decided that he wanted to keep me, I was delighted. I just stayed there ever since. I've been there a year and a half now, so it's going well.
Now you're promoted by Tom Loeffler, 360 Promotions. You're getting a lot of your pro fights happening within the LA area. Your next fight, from moving 4 rounds to 6 rounds, did that just feel like a natural progression, or is it just because you're blowing everybody out so fast? Like, hey, let's go six, even though he might not get out of round one.
Yeah, no, my last fight was actually supposed to be 6 rounds. I just wanted to do one 4 round fight and then move straight to six. And my last fight was supposed to be a 6 round fight, but I don't know, something happened to change it to four. So yeah, but 6 rounds is fine. Like I'm sparring 6, 8 rounds constantly. Like so, 6 rounds will be fine if it lasts 6 rounds. That's the thing.
As far as the pro game, obviously, I've talked to so many different boxers, and they always say, "Well, there's a world of difference between the amateurs and the professionals." What are the biggest differences to you, and how hard was it to adjust from amateur boxing to professional boxing?
Um, the adjustment wasn't that hard for me. To be honest, the biggest difference probably is just the gloves, just between the pro gloves and the amateur gloves. But I feel like my adjustment has been fine. I was just thrown in the deep end straight away, and I'd no other choice but to adjust. And I've been working with Freddie for the last year and a half just on a pro style, so I feel like I'm ready now for anything. The adjustment it was fine. It wasn't that bad.
When you're talking about that power differential, were there specific things that you worked on to kind of target that? Were there changes that you felt that you had to make, or did you feel it was just kind of naturally getting older?
Yeah, but I've always had a lot of power, even in my amateur fights. I have a lot of knockouts in the amateurs. So I've always had power in my career, but now as a pro, it's more like not trying to force it. Like I know I have the power, so the right punch will come at the right time, and it's just not trying to force the power.
Now you're a very big super welterweight. I'm guessing that the plan isn't to keep you there forever, but kind of as you naturally mature and get bigger to move up. Um, how are you feeling right now at super welter? Is it something that you could see yourself there for a year or two, or possibly longer?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm gonna stay at super welter for a while. Like I walk around close to the weight.
Mhm.
Like I'm big, but for some reason I'm just always light. So like I walk around at like 161, 162 constantly. So I don't even have to cut that much weight to fight, and I feel good. I feel strong. Like I could probably make 147 if I tried.
Wow, wow, that'd be. Would you? Is that something that you would ever consider?
Not right now. I like to fight where I don't have to cut that much weight. I like to feel strong, and but if there was a title or something at 147, yeah, I'd make it. But at
Mhm.
the moment, I'm happy at 154.
Now the connections with Dana White and the UFC, I think, is quite interesting. There's the UFC Fight Pass connection that he has with Tom Loeffler and obviously 360 Promotions. Is that how you two became acquainted? Is it primarily through the business of boxing?
Yeah, me and Dana, yeah, because of the Howler Head Whiskey sponsor as well, and obviously the UFC Fight Pass. Yeah, that's how me and Dana got connected. But yeah, working with UFC Fight Pass and Dana is unbelievable exposure for me. Just headlining shows on UFC Fight Pass already. Like my second and third fight.
I
It's
think
unbelievable.
it is. It's unbelievable. It's so cool. And you do some training, or at least you work out with several UFC fighters. How did you? Was it through Dana that you got connected with a guy like Tony Ferguson?
I actually met Tony Ferguson when I went to the wildcard.
Oh
In
wow.
I think it was March. It was in a March that I went to the wildcard. Tony was just there training, and yeah, I just because I always try to train as hard as I can in the gym, and I think Tony noticed that because obviously Tony's known for his engine and how hard he works. And I was trying to keep up with him, and then we just became friends. We started running together, training together all the time, and I train with Tony now like 3 4 times a week at the moment for this fight. So
That's interesting. Are there many wild card fighters that end up hanging out with UFC fighters and wrestling with them and things like that, or are you pretty unique in the fact that that's a you thing?
yeah, I'd say that's just me to be honest, because I actually enjoy the kind of the cross training. It's good, like wrestling with Tony is good for like physical strength and endurance and stuff like that. But yeah, training with Tony is it's good.
As far as when Tony's in the wild card, did you realize who he was at first? I don't know if some boxing guys like me don't necessarily pay a ton of attention to UFC and MMA, or was that something that was on your radar?
Yeah, no, I've always watched UFC. Even at home, we like me and my friends, we always watch UFC. But it was the first day I went. The first day I seen him, I was there, and I didn't really take any notice of who was there. And then when I got home, I was like, wow, Tony Ferguson in the wildcard. And then it was the next day then, yeah, that we started training together.
I can't remember where I read it. It was an article where it talked about. I think maybe it was based on a video of your your unique training methods, and then the fact that you end up wrestling with him, having not
Mm.
really wrestled before. What was that like? And do you feel like, hey man, I'm pretty good at this? You know, I'm a natural wrestler.
Yeah, yeah, I actually wrestled with Tony one time in the for like an hour straight. And after it, he was like, "Oh, you have some experience in jujitsu," and I was like, "No, not at all. I never even wrestled before." But yeah, no, it's good. I enjoy it. I'm learning some stuff off Tony, and I'm training like wrestling and stuff with him, and it's good. I enjoy it.
I know that, the idea of crossing over is so big. You hear a lot of talk. We don't necessarily see a ton of fighters cross over, vice versa. I guess, we see a lot that, end up coming from MMA to boxing. Do you feel like it could ever be the way where, hey, maybe I'll take an MMA fight? Why not if the money's right? Was that something that you'd ever consider?
Yeah, I would definitely, 100%. Down the line, then in a couple of years, if I'm winning everything in boxing and the opportunity came up to fight in the UFC, yeah, no bother, I'd fight in the UFC. Especially if I just keep training with Tony for this next couple of years, I'll be ready for it.
That's pretty
So
cool. I dig it.
yeah,
Well, it seems like you really take an interest in combat sports all the way around. Um, Speaking of combat sports, we have International Fight Week this week. What's your plan going on for this week? What are kind of the festivities and how are you involved?
yeah, I'm sure. We're trying to get down to International Fight Week on Friday because I know Tony has a seminar on Friday. So hopefully we can get down for that and just spend the weekend down there and then just get back into my own training then on Monday.
Very
Oh
cool.
yeah,
Well,
I'd like to get to Tony's seminar on Friday.
I
That'd
dig
be
it.
good.
No, well, it sounds like you got an incredibly bright future ahead of you. You got your fight coming up on August 4th. Big things happening with your connection with 360 Promotions and UFC Fight Pass. Callum, thank you so much for the time and best of luck.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.